Hi everybody, Father Bill Holtzinger here, and this is your Friday Reflection. Well, as I was leaving the church today, this is Wednesday, as I'm recording this, I started noticing that there were some utility companies present with big booms and had guys on the top trying to move the lines on the telephone poles from the shorter poles to the taller poles. Now, I never got to actually see the event happen, but I had already noticed that there are several lines already put up. Now, it's interesting, this last weekend, you may have noticed, people share with me that, it's interesting now at Mass, I never saw the telephone poles before. Is that something different? Have I just noticed it? Well, actually, it is new because these telephone poles that are being put up are much taller, and now they are visible through our windows. It was asked also, is there something we can do to change that? And the answer is, the train has left the station. No, that's a big deal. And they need to be tall for whatever reason that is, based on engineering and specs that are being required. So that is not something that is likely anything we can do to change. And yes, if you're sitting in the pews and you're used to looking at the sky without any, let's say, telephone poles sitting at your view, maybe I might offer this, because I think this is my little gift to the world, and that is trying to look at the nature and the things around us and see how that connects us with God. That may mean also look at things that frustrate us and also say, okay, how can I connect with God with this? So how about this? As I look at these poles and as I'm looking at what they're doing, putting these cables across, I was struck by this word, making connections. Making connections. They're making connections with these lines so that people can get power and whatever utilities that are going through there. Not so much telephone anymore, right? Because now it's cell phones, but they used to be telephone poles for the use of telephones, and now they're probably carrying internet cables and other things like that. How are we seeing connections? When we come to Mass and you look at those cables, you have a choice, as I have a choice, though I'm not looking at those cables, but if I was sitting in the pews, the choice to get frustrated by that, the blue sky, the perfect view of the clouds, I can't see them because these darn poles are in the way. Or we could choose to say, you know what, it's because of those poles that people are connecting with each other, that they're growing closer together, that who knows what important conversations, if it's even a telephone call that's going on, but an internet connection that is changing people's lives, or delivering power to their house so that they can do whatever it is that they're doing. You could say, well, we could be critical. Well, they should bury them. Yeah, they could probably bury them, but I imagine there's some reasons that we don't know, and I'm not an expert to know. But in the meantime, we can look at the glass half empty or half full. We can be in charge of our joy, or we can stay frustrated. Now, you can say, but Father Bill, you're not looking through the windows like we are. You're right, I'm not. But I did notice them. And I'm amazed at what's going on. In fact, I grabbed some video, hopefully you can see it as I'm talking right now, of these persons getting up into these big boom trucks, getting prepared to move some more lines. And I find that scary at first, but it's dangerous. It's dangerous to be messing with electricity because those are also electrical lines, not just internet lines. And I pray for those individuals. That's some work. Those people have been trained. They're putting their lives on the line. Things don't go right. It could be a problem, besides the fact that we wouldn't have, services, but connections. So if you are wondering what the latest is, connecting this down to the building project, the latest is, because of course the Walker Road expansion is happening and it's coming right up. You can see flags now in front of the offices. We have now connected with an architect. We've had a volunteer architect. Tomas is his name. He's been wonderful. And for a year plus, we've been designing ideas for putting together a set of offices with a larger hall, the size of just a bit shorter than or smaller than the cafeteria. And we're now at the place where we need to hire somebody to do this work. Someone that's actively able to give us their time to relook at what we're doing. They got our vision now started with the Dreaming Committee or Dreaming Summit to now this Design Committee, where we're now needing to look at and talking to other people. So Brian Jackson is the new architect we are now with, he was with us when we were going to make just an office. This is pre-COVID, just build a new office knowing that the Walker Road expansion could go right through our current offices. And again, the history there is that kind of got stopped. The idea of the Walker Road expansion was on delay, and then COVID hit, and so all that was on delay, and now they're picking it back up, as we are now too. But with the addition of recognizing that there's a good reason to have not just offices, but a parish hall or a parish center where the fireside room will be used for other things like the school. Meanwhile, we'll have the ability to walk from the church through a corridor where the current stairs are. The stairs right now, they're still in place and they'll stay there. That's kind of the vision right now. But there'll be a parallel walkway that'll take you down in a covered space to the parish center, where there's a much larger room that can be divided up in smaller rooms. Again, similar to the fireside room, but bigger and hopefully a little bit nicer, less industrial, more personal, and you can hear better, and carpeted, things like that. So we're looking at parking. We're looking at the deal of how big does this hall need to be. We're trying to, first of all, maximize it, but it looks like we're kind of running into that rub of, well, the bigger this building is, the less parking we have, because it's going to be on the side of the parking area where the fireside room is. That is the side as you pull in to the parish. This will be located. And eventually this committee will change from a design committee and be reduced to maybe some new people, but other people will move off to be an actual construction committee. And that'll be much smaller when you get to that point. I've been involved right now to this point with 2 different fundraising companies to discern who will help us to do a serious capital campaign. That is something underway, trying to figure out what that will be. But I'd ask you for the prayers, because we need to figure out how will we design this building with these 2 things in mind, that is the hall and offices, such that we also can preserve some parking. So we'll probably be looking into making the hall a little smaller than we currently have it, which is still way bigger than the fireside room, just so we can make things fit. Again, connections, right? So a connection that you can offer in this regard is to pray for this committee, to pray for wisdom, to pray that also for those, again, who will eventually be participating in a capital campaign at some point, to make sure that we can afford something like this, because it takes money to do this. And we, as a parish, for many years, a good 20 years, have not done any kind of fundraising. We did that for the parish, the new church, and we've been very frugal with our money. We've been not, pestering people about giving to this, that, and other thing, other than the Archbishop's Catholic appeal. I'll give you more information as we get closer to that. Again, we don't even have a fundraising company to hire yet. We're just interviewing them, kind of getting a sense of their approach, how that will fit with us. And we're also still trying to come to a conceptual design at this level, so that, when we're doing fundraising, you can know what it is, what we're looking at. And we'll, of course, have to do a feasibility study. That, again, we'll have to have something drawn that will be something that's, not 100%, but maybe like 70% of what we're looking at possibly doing, to see what the appetite is, you could say, for making something happen like that in our parish. So that's kind of what's going on. And yeah, that starts all the way with telephone poles, right? We need to make connections also with what's going on there. It affects us, not just our view, but also does good things. It allows people to get services, and they are apparently not able to keep them lower for whatever reason that is. If you've noticed, that's the case. If you go all the way towards Nike and beyond, all the telephone poles are a third taller. They're very, very tall. And these are going to be the same as we have them now. So pray for us. This weekend, I will be at St. Juan Diego. I believe that's this weekend. Let me double check that. Yep. So Father Hans is on a retreat, very important retreat. So I'm going to hear confessions and do Mass over at St. Juan Diego for Saturday. And Father Dominic will be helping them out on one of the Masses on Sunday. But otherwise, I'll be there on Sunday. Deacon Brett is back this weekend. Father Dominic will be preaching. So pray for him. In the meantime, I'll see you this weekend. Bye-bye.